What's your name and what's your game?
My name is Jacob Williams, and I'm the developer of a game called Fortune Fighters. It's a 2D arena MMO, and we're trying to go for some of that old school SNES era fighting and community feel.
When I first saw the game, I thought initially it was a local multiplayer game, and then found out it was online multiplayer, and then found out it was an MMO. Was it always going to be an MMO, or was that something that it evolved into?
Yeah, MMO was the plan from the start. We came to PAX last year just as gamers, and we saw how the arena battle games were doing really well, and how PAX was getting the word out about these games for these developers. So we thought, we want to take the game to PAX, and showing off an MMO at PAX is something that's difficult to do because you have to have lots of players and you have to have, a big setup, and we're still an indie team. So what we did is we decided to add a local co-op mode so we can showcase the game, and it actually turned out to be pretty fun. So we decided to keep it. So not only will the game be an MMO, but the different arena battles in the game can be played as a local couch co-op game.
So you said you came here just as gamers before. Were you developing somewhere else at that point, or is this kind of your first game together?
We've me and Ryan, we've been working together as a team for quite a while. Usually little stuff that didn't matter, but we did a few game jams and things like that. We just found out we worked well together as a team. So about probably 6 months ago, we sat down and we started making plans for Fortune Fighters, and we really liked where it was headed. So we started committing to it and started kind of concentrating on this and letting some of the other side work go, and it kind of evolved into what you see here.
So how big is your team?
It's actually just the two of us. I handle the programming. Ryan, he handles the art, and we just, anything else in between, we just kind of chip in and do together. Wear a lot of different hats.
So when you say arena-based MMO, does that mean you're kind of going into these fights and carrying over like a persistent level and upgrade system outside of that?
That's mostly what it is. The other thing that we wanted to bring to the game, though, was some of the first MMO games were more about community, less about leveling up, less about this theme park ride, but it was more about community hosted events, hanging out with your clan, just making, basically creating the world you wanted to live in. So not only are we going to be an arena battle game that has some persistence in it, but we're also going to be a MMO game where the community is going to have the tools to do things like host events, to create special things specifically for the game. We want to give the power to the community, like the old games used to do, and so that's mostly what the MMO part is about. We want to give the power back to the community instead of just taking them on this theme park ride that we've designed.
So when you're talking about community, you're looking at user-generated content as something you want to do, or?
Absolutely. We designed the art, or Ryan designed the art from the ground up to be something that's easily moddable. And so we actually already have somewhere around 8.5 million costume options in the game. And we're still very early. He can build those very quickly.
You just said 8.5 million?
8.5 million.
Okay, so that's like all the permutations together?
That's all the permutations together. But that's across, you essentially have three things. Your body, which is your clothing, whether it's armor, it could be a tuxedo, it could be, you design it to look like you want. And then all the heads are different. And something that we've done in this game is the head being completely separate from the body allows us to have male and female characters, and we don't restrict clothes. So the clothes work the same for both genders, and we have a lot more female options than most games.
Do different weapons require different animations?
They actually don't. The way we've designed the game is we have a series of different types of weapons have different slash effects, but the weapons themselves fall under this. We have built this the sprite sheet that has a certain number of frames that we put together these different pieces and create animations. And so because we have, each sprite sheet has probably 48 frames, and these frames are the character or the player in different positions, and then we just kind of build those like Legos to come up with new animations.
So you kind of have like a base sprite sheet that's your skeleton, and then you're tacking everything else on top?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works, yeah.
Are you using any animation middleware or anything for this?
No, actually, we're using Unity to design the game, and we kind of have our own sprite and animation system we wrote on top of that, and it's kind of it's an XML-based format, and it's so Ryan, the artist, doesn't have to learn any kind of tools. He creates art, he describes it in a specific format, and it can be loaded right into the game and ready to go.
Why'd you choose XML?
XML is easier to read. I'm a fan of JSON.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it's a much better format, but if it's something that has to be readable, XML is much easier to read.
You really find XML easier to read than JSON?
I do, but what I think doesn't matter. The artist thought it was easier to read, so ultimately it was his call.
So what platforms are you targeting?
For release, we're targeting PC, Mac, and Linux. We are going to discuss consoles, but there's a lot of tricky red tape to go through.
Well, also the user-generated content then becomes more complicated.
That makes it tricky.
Like not every platform has that stuff built in.
Exactly. But something we do want to do is go mobile. Maybe not phones at first, but I think the tablet could be a good form factor for a game like this.
Do you, given it's such like a kind of fast-paced local multiplayer game, how have you thought about how you're going to control the mobile version?
Control the what?
Control the mobile version.
Oh yeah, we have toyed with a couple of ideas, and we're still not entirely sure yet. That's why we're putting off the release of the mobile version until after the desktop version is done. Because what we're going to do is we're going to essentially, when the desktop version's done, we're going to throw it on a mobile device. We're going to throw on 4 or 5 different control schemes, and we're going to let people choose which one they like the best.
Well, also, you'll probably have the experience of when you release the desktop version, all the Surface people will be like, it's already on my tablet, and they'll already be playing.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true. So, but what we kind of, the benefit of going to some of the tablet OSs specifically, like Apple iOS gives you support for things like Apple TV, which is going to be huge, and Android gives you support for like the Kindle Fire TV and Android TV, which, there's a handful of devices out there. But then some of the other, Android-based consoles, you port to mobile, specifically tablet, you get all those for free. And it seems like we should ignore those guys,
So you think that Apple TV will be an important kind of gaming machine?
I think it is going to be important among casual gamers, and while this game might not be designed for casual gamers initially, what we've tried to do is make something that's easy enough to pick up and play that anybody can learn how to play it. So we're hoping to get a big part of that market, the casual gaming market. And we may have to change some things. The game's a little chaotic, but we don't want to deviate too much from what we have planned, but we do want to look at the option of capturing some of those, I guess, gaming light customers.
Yeah. It seems very influenced by the kind of local multiplayer renaissance of the last couple of years, even from its origin stories.
Exactly.
So what are your 3 in order local multiplayer games of this type, like a 4 to 6 player combat based multiplayer game?
Well, there's my top 3, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a handful of them that I like. Big fan of Towerfall Ascension. I love that. Samurai Gun is, a big influence on this game, and that's where we get, some of the influence for like the over-the-top comic blood effects and things like that. And honestly, I have to, I can't not mention Super Smash Brothers. I mean, that's what made us all want to kill our friends on a couch sitting beside each other. So,
do you still play Super Smash Brothers?
I haven't in years. I love the Nintendo 64 version, and all the other permutations of that game after that, I just wasn't a huge fan of. But I'll always remember the summers I've spent playing Super Smash Brothers on N64.
Who's your main character in Smash 64?
I was always Link. I thought Link was amazing. I love all the Zelda games, and I love being Link.
Well, thank you for talking to me.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Good luck with the rest of development.
Thanks,
Two-person, multi-platform MMO is.
Well, we're gonna finish the game, or we're gonna kill each other. One of the two. So.
Yeah, so I mean, you'll be done.
Yeah,
either way.
Either way, I'm gonna be done. So
that's good. Hope you have a good rest of PAX.
Thanks, man.
And thanks for being on the question bus.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Oh, I will mention that you can follow us at Fortune Fighters, and we're on Steam Greenlight, so we're already in the top 30 of about 2,000 games. But continued votes are very much appreciated.
Not to tangent too much, but how's Greenlight? Like, how are you liking it?
Greenlight, the process has been really smooth. We put it on Greenlight 3 days ago. Tons of support so far, hundreds of comments. I mean, people seem to be loving the game, and so we've had no issues. We're not greenlit yet, but as fast as we're jumping, I imagine the next couple of days we will be.
Does Greenlight require? I've never put a game through Greenlight, but does it require a lot of like community involvement and community management?
It requires you to do your own PR. That's what it boils down to. You got to drive people to your Steam Greenlight page. They're not going to do it for you.
But once they're there, like, is there a lot of questions you're getting or like concerns that people are addressing?
There have been a handful of concerns. Most of them are things like, this game seems too chaotic. Well, chances are, if it does, it's probably not your type of game, and then that's okay.
Yeah.
Some other questions we got: where are all the female characters? Which we have plenty, so that wasn't a problem. While they're not in the trailer, we have plenty. So, anyway, we got lots of questions, but most of them were things that we could answer. And once people found out it was free to play with no pay to win options, they were super supportive. So
what was the strategy behind doing a green light and then next day doing a PAX?
Well, the strategy was we could use PAX to drive people to Greenlight. We thought early in development that's something we were going to need. Turns out it wasn't, but the feedback we're getting from PAX is invaluable. So it was definitely a smart move. We already have a notebook full of things we're going to talk about and change and iterate over. So
what's the main thing that you're like, man, we need to change that as soon as I get home?
Well, the biggest thing we're going to have to change is the boss fight. We have a boss fight. It's kind of unique. It's Fortune Fighter, so you're after the boss's stuff and you can care less about the boss. He can kill you, but he's a big rock monster. You can't kill him. And so people don't understand the boss fight. They don't necessarily enjoy it. It kind of comes at you too fast, and then it leaves people stunned. So we're going to go home and we're going to reevaluate that boss fight.
And what was the last thing that broke right before the show?
Actually, funny enough, we did a lot of playtesting last night, and a ton of stuff broke. And we got that fixed. I think about 2 a.m. last night, got all that stuff fixed. And then about 10 o'clock this morning, our analytics screen at the end showing you your death kills, your kill-death ratio, none of it was working. And so we had to shut down for about 15 minutes. I had to figure out what was causing it. We had to fix it up.
Okay. Well, I hope you have no more problems.
Thanks. I appreciate
and a
that.
good rest of PAX.
Awesome. Thanks, man.